Hi, this is Don Farber with Vineyard Soft Corporation, and I'd like to welcome you to this training session on the KnowledgeSync solution. The topic for this session will be the configuration of an event to send out alerts via fax. However, before proceeding with the current session, we strongly recommend that you first have viewed the overview training session on Event Alert Message Design. Now, before we go into a specific event and look at the configuration of its fax alert message, it's worth making a couple of general comments about faxing out of KnowledgeSync. KnowledgeSync supports three methods for sending out fax alerts, the first of which is simply by dialing out through a modem. And the alerts that KnowledgeSync sends using that method are in plain text or ASCII format. The second method that you can utilize is to use the Microsoft Fax technology, as Microsoft Fax is automatically included on all Windows operating systems. Microsoft Fax gives you the added benefit of being able to send out faxes that include graphics and other more sophisticated formats. KnowledgeSync automatically includes a pre-configured integration script for use with the Microsoft Fax technology. Your third option for sending out fax alerts is by using an internet faxing solution, such as eFax. Now, methods such as this typically utilize email as the delivery method for the fax alert, and you'll need to have an account with an internet fax service provider, such as eFax, in order to utilize this method. Now, the advantage to internet faxing is that it does not require any hardware or the use of any telephone lines to send out the fax alerts. As mentioned, it utilizes email as the method to communicate with various fax machines. So, with that, let's now take a look at the configuration of an events alert message via fax. Up at the top of the Fax tab, you'll notice a list of fields of data that you can include in the outgoing fax message. These are fields of data that correspond to the conditions that the event is currently monitoring for. In this particular example, we're looking at an event that identifies invoices that are overdue for payment, and this gives us the ability to send out alerts about those invoices via fax. If you find that there are fields of information that you'd like to put into the outgoing fax message that do not appear from this list of available values, you simply need to go back into the query associated with this event and add those fields to the query, at which point they will appear in this list and be able to be utilized in the outgoing fax alert message. Now, if you are utilizing method 1 for faxing, that is dialing out through a modem, you first have to define in the KnowledgeSync Administrator module the various fax accounts you wish to use, such as one set of faxes that may come out of your sales department versus a separate set of faxes that may come from your service department. Please refer to the training sessions on the KnowledgeSync Administrator module for more details on defining these fax sending accounts. Following that, you have the ability to specify the subject of the outgoing fax alert message. And although this particular message has a subject of overdue invoice, you can include fields of data also within the fax alert subject. So if we wanted to include the invoice number or invoice amount in the fax subject field, we could do so. Following that, you have the ability to specify a cover page, and that cover page can also include any combination of hard-coded text as well as field-based values. In our case, we're simply letting folks know that this outgoing fax is a confidential document. Typically, the fax details are specified at the very bottom of the Fax tab, beneath the checkbox titled Include the following text as the first page. The design of the fax alert message is handled in much the same method as you would specify an outgoing email alert message. That is, you're able to specify any combination of hard-coded text as well as field-based variables. Now, although this particular fax alert message is designed to send out a separate fax for each invoice that's overdue, just like designing the email alert message, we can design the fax alert message so that a single fax message can contain the details of multiple invoices. And that simply makes use of the begin repeat and end repeat functions that were detailed in a preceding training course. So I can scroll my list of available values down to the very bottom of the list and specify the part of my fax message that I wish to be repeated for each matching overdue invoice. Do note that if you do utilize begin repeat and end repeat in the fax tab, you cannot also utilize begin repeat and end repeat in any of the other tabs within the event. Each event can make use of begin repeat and end repeat only once. Now, it's quite possible that you might already have designed an email alert message whose content and format you like, and thus would like to utilize that same format as the fax message. Well, you can do so simply by coming to the fax tab, going down to that very bottom field, and simply typing in equals email underscore message underscore text. That is a command unique to KnowledgeSync, and it tells KnowledgeSync that the fax message that is going to be sent out will contain the exact same content and be formatted in the exact same way as the outgoing email alert message. And this is particularly important, as if you do utilize begin repeat and end repeat in your email message, then you can come into your fax tab, use this command equals email underscore message underscore text, and the fax message will also contain the repeated details of all appropriate invoices that meet this event's criteria. Okay, just a couple of last comments about the delivery of the fax alert. You have a couple of checkboxes down at the very bottom of this tab. If this event has any associated reports specified back on the Reports tab, and those reports are being generated in plain text or ASCII format, you can specify whether or not those text-based reports are also going to be included as part of the fax alert message. Now, if those reports are going to be generated separately from the fax, that is, the event is generating reports, but the reports are not being included as part of the fax alert message, you then have the ability to specify whether or not you want the fax alert message to wait until the reports have been successfully completed, generated, before the fax alert message gets sent out. After all, you wouldn't want to send someone a fax alert message to tell them about a certain condition and refer them to a specific location to access those reports if in fact those reports have not been successfully generated to that location as yet. Finally, the checkbox over on the right-hand side lets you specify whether or not any files that are associated with this event are also to be included as fax pages, very similar to the concept of including text-based reports. But this refers to any files that are specified back on the Files tab, and KnowledgeSync has the ability to pick up and make part of the fax alerts any files that are specified on this tab that have the ASCII text checkbox checked. That's indicating that that is a plain text or ASCII formatted file, and thus that text file can be included as part of the fax alert message. Finally, last comment about the configuration of fax alerts in general, and that is that in the KnowledgeSync application, there is a separate server whose job it is to simply send out alerts via fax. And so, you must make sure to go into the KnowledgeSync Administrator module and make sure that the fax server has been enabled to process. By default, out of the box, the KnowledgeSync fax server is turned off. And so, once again, go into the Administrator module, and you'll have access to a list of all of the individual servers that KnowledgeSync utilizes, and you need to enable the fax server for execution in order to be able to deliver any fax alert messages. Okay, so let's save our changes and go back to the main KnowledgeSync Event Manager window. That wraps up this training session on the configuration of an event's alert message that is to be sent via fax. So I'd like to thank you very much for your time today, and I look forward to speaking with you in a future KnowledgeSync training session. Thanks very much.